And so begins part 6. This, for anybody that's new to the channel, this is a series of an as yet unknown number of parts covering the simultaneous restoration of the 10 dusty old Matchbox cars that you just saw there. We've got 5 of them done so far. These are the 5 that are in the the winners gallery, so to speak. And these are the ones that are still yet to cross the line. Some look almost done, some look barely started. Appearances can be deceptive. It's not always the case that the ones that look closest to the end are actually the closest to the end. So without further ado, let's see if we can get 1 or 2 of these closer to the making the little display thing for the ones that are done even more cramped than it already is. I've got a new airbrush for the fleet. Anybody who's seen all my videos so far will be more than familiar with the blue one. It's the nail bar airbrush that I got. I've done a full video on exactly how this works and the benefits and drawbacks of it and things like that. It's actually lasted a lot longer than I thought. I thought this green one would be its replacement because it had broken by now, but it's not. The blue one's actually still going strong, and I've got the green one purely because it's better to have 2 than only 1. And also, one thing I have noticed, when you're using metallics, it's very difficult. It takes a long time to clean out all the metallic sparkles, all the metallic flakes afterwards, if you're wanting to go back to using a solid colour or a transparent colour. So from now on, I'm going to try and use 1 for metallics and 1 for transparents and solid colours. The Nissan Prairie's been painted several times already. It's an unusual one because it's kept turning out not really as I would have liked it. Just small defects and patches in the paint, but always a feeling that 1 more coat will do it. So this is its 3rd coat. This is the 3rd attempt to get this looking finally right. Now I have noticed with the new airbrush, the green one, there is a different set. You can actually alter the settings. There's a low pressure setting. You press it once and it sprays at the same pressure as the blue one. Press it again, it seems to go down to half that. Press it again and it seems to go down to a quarter of that. At that point it's a very gentle low pressure. It's almost like it's just sprinkling the paint on, but sprinkling it on consistently. And given the ability of this kind of paint, this transparent paint, to sort of self-level, the way it sort of levels out, that's actually a very good thing. So this is a really useful feature, as it turns out. I might not necessarily use it to do the whole paint job, but certainly when you've got most of it done and you just want to put another light coat on just to finish it off and even out a few inconsistencies, I think that's going to be the thing. Taking it down to that sort of quarter pressure is going to be the thing that will probably put an end to like getting runs in the paint and ended up putting too much on and things like that. So that's where that is. The old tune, the old 33 Plymouth. I thought it was just time to get the body mirror polished on that. That was that happening. I just showed a brief bit of it. We're onto the Sierra now. Now the Sierra, I did this off camera. I put some of that sort of black chrome stuff on, but it wasn't over the polished bare metal and it wasn't over the chrome paint either. It was just over silver paint. I just wanted to see what it would look like, and it does look nice. It does make a really nice metallic grey when you put that stuff over it. And you're probably thinking, what am I doing here? Now this is just me. I'm just marking this out just to try something out, just to see if it's worth doing the bottom half of it silver, because I've known it to be a good colour combination, and I've always thought all along that this Sierra just needed a bit of something. There's been something about it all the time. It's just that it's been progressing. It's just not been. I've always thought it's just something about this. It's just not really coming along. It's not really turning into something that is all that great. And it's not the casting, because I've done these Sierras before and I've done all sorts of things with them and I've always really liked working with them. So it's not just. And here is the crux of the matter. When you actually look at this casting, there's actually something wrong with it. It bulges out at the sides. There's supposed to be a little fuel filler cap kind of detail on there, but there isn't. There's just something that looks like a flaw in the casting. But there's actually a bulge. So never mind trying to do fancy two-tone paint and things like that to sort of make up for its deficiencies. This is me actually facing up to what's actually wrong with this casting, and what's been bugging me all along is that it needs actually a bit of surgery. It's not, all the other ones have been able to just glide along painting them. sanding them, doing everything as you're meant to do, and they've not really been throwing up any problems. This is 1 out of the 10 that's thrown up a problem. I can't really complain if 1 out of the 10 is problematic. Then at this point I'm kind of probably not really the right word, but sort of panic sanding. I'm just sort of going over all the different areas that it could be, thinking what is it makes it, because it's not just that bulge in the side. There's another problem. It doesn't really go together properly. I didn't really look at it properly before I took it apart to see whether the problem existed already. It could well have done, but you can sort of see daylight through the top and bottom halves of the casting when you try and put it back together. It was probably like that to start with. It's just it was so rough, and it was just, you know, I had this plan to restore it. So what I'm doing here, I've been filing it down along the bottom edges of the casting and into the wheel arches, and I keep just trying it back together with its bottom half to see if it lines up a bit better. I then realised that actually I could just use a fairly coarse grit sanding disc to try and get some of that kind of, it's weird, it's almost like it looks like it's been melted and gone over with filler or something. Obviously that can't be what happened, because it's all metal. It's just like there's too much metal on one side that's making it kind of wider than it should be. It's a weird one. Now, I've coincidentally noticed 1 or 2 others that other people have customised on various platforms, and I've seen this same problem with those, and I've thought to myself, yeah, you've restored it, you've customised it, whatever. You haven't really solved the problem though, and you've not really, putting a load of paint on it hasn't really made it look any better. So, and that's what was happening with mine. It just wasn't looking any better, despite no matter what I painted it with, it just wasn't looking right, because this big glaring flaw was always there. So I finally decided, which I should have done right from the start before I put any paint onto this thing, I finally started to tackle it. So you can see it's coming down smooth again. It's coming down as flat as it should be. But it's not there yet. So I've figured out at this point that because the other arch is relatively straight and relatively how it should be, that if I file it along the edge like that, if I lay it down, then I'll know when I've got that arch right, because the file will start to make contact with the other side. Until it's been filed down enough, it won't. That was the theory anyway. I've tried all sorts of different things. I'm not saying one particular thing worked. A lot of the time it's just trial and error, just keep whittling away, and eventually, hopefully, you'll get somewhere. But you've got to be careful, and you've got to keep checking, because you can go too far with this sort of thing. You've got to remember die-cast metal's only so... You see, the white one, that's like an early casting, so that's a really good quality casting. It looks, everything's perfect on that one. You can see the little filler neck and things, and you can see what the arch on the other one. This is just a generally better casting. You can see like where it says Sierra XR4i sort of cast into the tailgate, and on this one it just sort of starts to say Sierra, and then the rest of it's covered by another blob of that weird metal that shouldn't be there. So you can see the difference a little bit. But eventually I discovered that the arch itself wasn't quite deep enough. The kind of trough of the arch wasn't deep enough. So once I discovered that and found it a bit, I got it a lot better. So we're actually making some real progress with the Sierra now. And then to end on an even more celebratory note, the Prairie is done. Well, it's certainly done as far as this series is concerned, because this is setting out to restore 10 Matchbox cars in a style reasonably close to what the factory could have possibly done, but that the factory never actually did, if that makes any sense. So it's done as far as that's concerned. There is potential to do more to it. I mean, it was 2-tone originally. Nothing to stop me from making the bottom half silver. I may do that. There's a couple of these complete ones that have got the potential to have further things added to them. But they're done in terms of them being restored and looking nice and looking shiny and in nice colours and whatever. So in the meantime, we'll get the rest of them. Only four left to go now. Get the rest of them up to this standard. So thanks for watching so far, and I'll see you in the next one.